Oh, hello, yeah. Well, good grief, it's Sunday. Oh, Saturday was a long day. Yeah, you get to a certain age, don't you? You just get tired. Tired, don't you? Yeah. The other thing you get is the notion that, well, there's probably nothing new under the sun and you've seen it all before and, well, I want my money back, as the old saying goes. Yes, that, well, there's nothing new. And in terms of things that we find funny, I don't think we've really moved on at all. This cropped up in my feed the other day, on the YouTube feed. It was a very, very old and forgotten Not the 9 o'clock News sketch, which makes you remember that for every sort of gorilla having a moan at its keeper, you end up with an awful lot of stuff that just is very reflective of the times and a bit dull. And in those days, of course, there was that notion of political correctness. Yeah, none of your woke rubbish, obviously. It was all political correctness going mad, wasn't it? And there was this particular sketch, link down below if you want to watch it, which is a sort of pastiche of Antiques Roadshow, where they rock up to Lewisham and no one shows up because basically there aren't any antiques in Lewisham. Yes, I know, be still your aching sides. Yes, they go to Winnie Mandela House. Yeah, you see, nothing new under the sun. Remember the Trotter brothers? And even now, the way the lefties want to just, decolonise things and name things, they're like that, aren't they, the lefties? Nothing new under the sun. And anyway, the only hilarious part of this is a bloke turns up with a newspaper and they talk about the newspaper. Yeah, like I've said, there was an awful lot of it that was padding. You forget about these things, a bit like, I guess, with Monty Python. But it made me think about, all of those other things that we had to put up with in the 80s. And there was lots of it that was to do often with taking the mickey out of the Conservative Party. Yes. You remember them, the Conservative Party? Yes. And you would always have, at every Conservative Party conference, there would be some interviews with young Conservatives, very earnest, pasty-looking, young, geeky men in glasses with a tie on and a blazer, looking awkward, with nothing really to say other than they were gushing over Margaret Thatcher. And we had a bit of that this weekend with, this. I'm going to just play this video for you of young 12-year-old Reform member. Yeah.
I'm homeschooled, actually, and the reason I left school is because the amount of rubbish that they push on to children.
How old are you?
I'm 12 years old.
Tell me what you think about Nigel Farage.
I think he's the only man that's going to save this country. I think he's the only man that speaks the truth. I think he's the only man that's going to put the effort in to save this nation, because our nation is broken. The way government is going at the moment, they're not giving a future for young people. And I think Reform are certainly the only people that want people to get out and work and have successful careers for themselves. I'm homeschooled, actually, and the reason I left school is because the amount of rubbish that they push on to children, that we're teaching them about LGBTQ agendas when we're not actually teaching them about history and maths and English. We do teach them about that, but we're certainly pushing on LGBTQ agendas and all that sort of stuff. We're afraid to talk about Winston Churchill. We make him out to be a bad man.
It's going to be years before you can vote in the general election. By that time, Nigel Farage could be the Prime Minister.
Yeah, hopefully so. I really hope so. Yeah.
Yes, well, there you go, yes. Now, you're wondering, why does he sound like his dad? Well, because he's homeschooled, okay? In my job, I get to meet a lot of homeschooled kids, and you can always tell the kids that effectively have no other contact with young people their age because they are mirror images in terms of the language of their fathers in this case. You can tell that it's just his dad saying this. This child has no opinion of their own. Anyway, it was in the Telegraph who put up this particular video snippet, and a few hours later it mysteriously disappeared, which led various people to wonder why that was. Well, according to some people, it was because, he was 12 and you need to be a 16 years old to be a member of Reform, but I think there's a bit more to it than that. There is the whole issue that what on earth was a 12-year-old doing on a school day, because it was on Friday, at a Reform conference? Why exactly had his parents taken him there, and why exactly do we have this child simply parroting, as you can plainly see, what their parents are saying? Because, I'm sorry, no 12-year-old basically has ever been taught that Churchill was a bad man. It's not a thing. I assure you it's not a thing, and in no 12-year-old realistically, without hearing it from parents, will complain about LBGTQ things being set out as an agenda to them. Again, it's not a thing. Trust me, I know about this because I do work in education. Yeah, I know you might disagree with me, but let's face it, you're wrong. You don't work in schools. But anyway, leaving that aside, so yeah, what on earth was he doing there? And surely isn't it a bad look? Well, no, of course, because the right wing love this stuff. The papers love this idea of young, geeky people who basically cannot ever get a girlfriend ever, metaphorically or otherwise, being at these conferences. And I think it's personally a perfect metaphor for the Reform Party themselves. I mean, they will moan and complain about young people being indoctrinated, and yet here is the absolute perfect example of exactly that going on. This young person does not have any ideas outside what their parents spend 24 hours a day putting into them. There's a classic empty vessel thing, and all of those people clapping on this kind of thing are identical to that as well. They don't have their own thoughts, and they have to follow and fall into line with whatever is agreed. Them's the rules, yeah? You can't watch this video anymore, so it's a good idea to come here. Yes. But I think these kind of things are dreadful because, of course, we are constantly being told about the wokeists and the old-fashioned PC brigade and what they've been doing for donkey's years. And yet, here we are with people like this that drag children along to very, very adult events before their time with no sense of how abusive that might be. And again, what a perfect, perfect metaphor for the Reform Party. No original ideas, abusive bunch of people who pretend to care about certain things, like young people, but really, really, really don't. Still, at least they got to see Lucy Connolly, didn't they? Yes. Maybe they can appoint her to the cabinet as the new Minister for Women in Prison or something. After all, she's an expert, isn't she? Yes. I'm sure she's got lots of good ideas about that. Possibly, possibly not. From what she said on stage, it sounds a bit to me like she might actually be a bit of one of them wokist leftists. Still, never mind. Pack her off to Winnie Mandela House, eh? Do have a glorious day if you can do, and remember, treat your children like human beings, okay? Don't presume that children aren't human beings. And if you want your child to hate you when they're older, bring them up like that kiddie who's homeschooled, all right? I can guarantee you that person at about 16 and 17 will experience a metaphysical shift in their reality when they realise that so much of what their parents had said to them is complete and utter tripe. Do have a glorious day if you can do. Enjoy.